Hi, my name is Jerry, this is my YouTube channel where I make things, and this boat behind me isn't mine, neither is the pier. I'm currently on vacation with my extended family and some close friends, and I've snuck out at the crack of dawn to record this in hopes that there'd be nobody around, and I think I'm on, the fourth or fifth take? It's true now, but I definitely have embarrassed myself with other people walking past, but let's cut right to the chase. Behind me, the sun is just now starting to come up, and with it, that means we're going to get more light, which means better video quality, hopefully, and as well, infrared, which means it's going to get hotter, and lastly, ultraviolet, which means sunburn, what else? Rapid skin aging, and skin cancer, if you're one of the unlucky ones. So as people start waking up at the hotel at the end of this pier, everybody's going to start rushing out here, but to protect themselves from the sunlight, they're going to be wearing sunscreen. You know, it's a great way to protect yourself against ultraviolet rays, but have you ever thought that the moon reflects sunlight? I mean, not quite as powerful, but it's the same spectrum. For the most part, you're still going to have ultraviolet, infrared, and visible light, so if there's still harmful rays in moonlight, then why don't we have moonscreen? Now, you might point out that the moon reflects such a minuscule amount of light from the sun that it really poses no harm, and there's no need for moonscreen at all. But I'm going to choose to ignore that fact and don my tinfoil cap and make moonscreen anyway. Now, before I start telling you about the backstory to this project, I'm going to get off of this pier, because any minute now people are going to start showing up, and I don't want to be seen talking to myself. Again, this is already kind of awkward. Anyway, I'll let future me explain what's going on. But first, 30 seconds of random vacation footage. All right. Okay, I think I found as good of a spot as I'm gonna get that's away from people and my family, so let's just do this. Although, please pardon the boat noises, both mine and those around me. Still looking around for boats that are gonna see me filming. Now, you might ask why I'm going through such great lengths to continue filming this video here when I could... There's fog on the lens. That's on the inside. Oh, shit. I'm just gonna keep going with it. Okay. Now, you might ask why I'm bothering to keep recording now instead of waiting until I get home when I can have my proper video setup ready, but here's the thing. This vacation is exactly what has inspired this project, and I want to try to get most of the filming done here. And just to clarify, it's not this vacation specifically, it's really the one last year where we went to the same lake at the same time with almost the same group of people. Or maybe even the year before that. Same time, same place, mostly same people, or the year before that, or the one before that, or the one before that. You get the picture. This has been a family tradition for a couple decades at this point, my entire family coming down to this lake at the same time. There's a feather. I think the most relevant part is around 15 years ago when I started to form memories that would go into adulthood, around the edge of 10 or so, and my cousins were getting into the late teens and early 20s, old enough to be trusted to go outside and swim without adult supervision, but not quite old enough to be trusted to put on sunscreen every time. So whenever somebody would say, I'm going swimming, the immediate response from every adult in my family, well, every mother in my family, was put on sunscreen. So after a few years of hearing that phrase every time they went to go swim, they started kind of mocking it. Sometimes when they wanted to go swimming at night, they'd say, I'm going swimming, and somebody would respond with, make sure you wear your moonscreen. You don't want to get a moonburn. And ever since then, moonscreen has kind of been a little inside joke in my family, although I suspect it's also in many others. Now, fast forward about 15 years, with me having adult money, I figured, why don't I bring this inside joke from my family to life? Like a real bottle of actual moonscreen that you can hold. Now, just to be clear, I'm not trying to make like a new FDA-regulated industry of moonscreen or anything. I just want to make like one or two fake bottles. But I want the fakes to be convincing enough that your first thought is, what is this for? And not, this is clearly some child's craft project. So no construction paper or scotch tape, I want the real deal. Real packaging materials, real labels, real good design. And to accomplish those three, I kind of started looking around at what I could do. Now, Moonscreen is going to be probably packaged in the same way that sunscreen is. So plastic tube, aerosol can, or maybe even plastic bottle with a sticker on it. But I'll be honest, while I think I might be able to do some sort of sublimation printing or screen printing for the plastic tubes or the aerosol cans, a plastic bottle with a sticker is going to be a lot easier and more affordable. So I'm going to go with that one. And going from there, I could start looking around for empty bottles that I could fill, but I'd probably have to buy them in bulk, and it would be a lot more than I need and a lot more money than I want to spend. So instead, I'd start with just some bottle of some product that I can empty out, add in whatever I want, and add in whatever label on top of that. So my first immediate thought was to use lotion. After all, sunscreen is a type of lotion, and I figured sunscreen without any sun protection factors would just be ordinary hand lotion. But I immediately had the concern, what if somebody sees this bottle of Moonscreen, along with other bottles of sunscreen, assumes that it is sunscreen and uses it, and then they get sunburned and I feel bad. From that point on, I decided that Moonscreen would just be sunscreen that had a new label slapped on it. Now, on the downside, that means I have less options in terms of bottles that I can start with. But on the good side, that means I have less choices that I have to make, which is really good for my indecisiveness. Okay, this is not looking good. Okay, hold up on the video recording. We're going on a side quest. And got it. It's a can of Sprite. Now, where was I? Both figuratively and literally. Just did a full 360 there. Well, I remember where I was. So I went to Walmart, looked at all the different types of sunscreen that they had, and more importantly, how they were packaged. And I learned that almost every brand just uses a plastic tube, and that's not good. I can't print on a plastic tube, at least not easily. There were also a couple of aerosol cans, again, similar problem. And lastly, I found exactly one brand that uses a plastic bottle and a label, and that's the one thing that I could make. Thankfully, that brand happened to be the cheapest, the Equate brand sunscreen, specifically their sport sunscreen. If you're not familiar, Equate, like Great Value or Mainstays, they're all Walmart private label brands, so that is why I got kind of lucky that it was the cheapest option that used the exact packaging that I needed. So that day I left the store with one big bottle and one keychain that I never ended up using for anything, and from there I could start the process of figuring out how to make a fake label. Of course, making a good fake label is two parts, both the design and the print quality. And I figured I'd figure out the print quality before I worked on the design, because if I can't print it properly, there's not much point in continuing the project. Now, I could just get some sticker paper and then try to print it with a color inkjet printer, but I don't have a functioning color inkjet printer. I have an old, OfficeJet Pro, I think 8600 from HP, but I got it at Goodwill, several years ago, and I've mostly just been using it as a scanner since then. Every time I turn it on, it purges some ink, and now it's out of almost everything. So if I were to use that, I would have to buy new ink and do tons of cleaning cycles and hope that the print head isn't permanently dried out. So then I turned to the internet, where I hoped that I could find a website that would custom print stickers and ship them to me. Now, I could have these stickers printed on Etsy, but I figured that people would ask, why am I making counterfeit medical products? So instead, I went to this really shady website where accountability and, counterfeit protections are nowhere to be found. And after browsing Amazon for a little bit, I found several different people that are selling custom printed stickers, but most of them are really, really tiny stickers, and you have to order a lot of them at one time. I was able to find a few listings where they'd print an 8-inch sticker, which is about the size that I need. But ultimately, I went with the seller that would print on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, just because I knew I'd be able to get the sizing right before I sent the design in. Now, with the printing method sorted out, I could finally start working on the design, and that's where things get interesting. I started out by taking high-resolution photos of the front and back of the bottle and pulling those into Inkscape so I could trace over them. But eventually I had to retake the photos after peeling the stickers off the bottles, that way I didn't have to worry about the curved surface making extra distortions. Of course, once I figured that out, the rest of the design wasn't too difficult. We might have another side quest. Interesting. Okay, there's some life vests just floating in the water. A little bit confused by that. Okay, that's an anchor. We're good. Now, working on the actual design led to some interesting challenges. I think the hardest one is figuring out what font to use in the bottle. I now know that Walmart maintains its own set of fonts for its different products, so I probably should have started there. But I ended up looking at every single font on my system, and none of them quite matched. So instead, I went to a website where you could upload a photo of some text, and it would try its best to match a font. So I selected just the free ones, because I'm not paying extra money for this project, and found one that closely matched, and used that from then on out. There's a few differences, particularly how the 3 looks, but otherwise it works pretty well, and all I had to do was just kind of stretch the words to match, and otherwise it was pretty unnoticeable how different the words look now. Another challenge was getting the colors right, and this is where I definitely lack expertise. I ended up just holding the stickers up to my monitor, getting a pretty good light on it, and trying to match the color that way. It kind of worked, but not really. Now, I'll be honest, from that point on, I kind of took a bit of a break and continued working the polar graph. This was while I was still working in that project as well. If you haven't seen that video and you're interested in robots that draw artwork or just need something to fall asleep to, go take a look at it. But that other project took so long that I basically did not get back to the Moonscreen project until after the polar graph video was uploaded. And by that time, it was too late to order from Amazon. So I had to enact Plan B. I pulled out that old OfficeJet printer, turned it on, and indeed it was out of pretty much every color of ink. So I forked up well over $100 and purchased genuine HP brand ink cartridges. Of course I didn't do that. I got third-party ink cartridges, but I did try to make sure that the reviews included some that were specifically for my printer that are modern, because HP has shown in the past that they will just push out firmware updates that break third-party ink cartridge support, and that is incredibly annoying. But with the ink on its way, I continued working in the back of the design. That one, again, not too difficult. I had to find another font, but this one was much easier with a simple Google search. Turns out, all drug facts on the backs of, like, prescriptions or medical stuff, FDA regulation has to be that it's, I believe, 14-point Helvetica font. So I downloaded that, got that installed, continued working in the design. I think the most notable thing that I did on the back was to use bitmap tracing. That way I could get vector graphics from the original actual design instead of trying to recreate them from individual lines. However, the shapes are still a little bit wonky, so it's not perfect. And a few other things you'll notice if you look really close at this, I've changed a lot of information in the back of the design to really silly stuff. Some of it I've left the same, but most of it's been changed either subtly or very obviously. The following day, the new ink cartridges arrived, and I stuck in the printer, and amazingly, they just worked. I mean, they were recognized as third-party, which is fine, but they still printed, and I honestly wasn't really expecting that. The moment that I put in 2 cartridges, it did a cleaning cycle, immediately needed more ink. So I put in the rest of the new cartridges and did a test print. That turned out mostly okay. It really looked like things were working okay, except for the magenta ink that was like a bit of a slow start. But I figured it would probably be okay. So I tried to print out my design, and that's where I finally had issues. Now, I knew the printer wouldn't be able to read an SVG file, which is what I was designing with, so I exported to a PDF, and the printer could not read that. So next I tried exporting it to a high-quality PNG file, and it read it as a corrupted file. Same with the JPEG file. Nothing that I was trying was working. I tried lowering the resolution to a degree that I would not even be happy with. Still nothing. Corrupted file, every time.
Well, it at least looks blank. Nope, still file corrupted.
So at that point, I did what any reasonable person would do. Afterwards, I looked online to see if anybody had this problem, and nobody did. Before giving up, I figured surely people on the internet don't have problems, so maybe their photos will work. So I Googled a picture of a cat, downloaded it, put it on the flash drive, and it printed out perfectly fine.
What, found something? Oh my god, it loaded the cat.
Okay, mostly. It was still not printing magenta properly at this point, so the cat was fairly green. So I did a few print head cleanings to try to get the magenta ink working properly, and after 4 attempts, it finally seemed to be doing okay.
Nope. Magenta's still not printing right.
And then I thought of something. Maybe it's my software, Inkscape. It's too new for this. I mean, after all, this printer, I got it from Goodwill like at least 5 years ago, and it was old by that point. So maybe if I use ancient software, maybe it will print. So I pressed the Windows key, typed in the word pain, and hit enter. And through Microsoft Paint, just opening the file and saving it again, the printer could finally read it. With the file finally open on the printer in the way I wanted it, I tinkered with how this printer does photo printing. It's mildly annoying, but I figured it out to the point that I could get the image sized correctly, and I did my first test print.
So, let's... No, I don't want to do anything there. Let's change the layout to 8x10 on 8.5 by 11. I really wish that this touchscreen was not a touchscreen. Alright, here we go. Oh my god, it's beautiful.
And I'll be honest, the colors aren't quite right, but it's a really good first test print. From there, I decided I would print basically a color calibration page. I put a whole bunch of different color swatches down, as well as the color codes that generated them. That way I could try to do better color matching. And this time I tried printing it out on the sticker paper that I purchased for the bottles. And let me tell you, it came out quite yellow. And I was really stumped as to why this was. Maybe the heat from the printer was like making the glue discolor the paper. But that doesn't make any sense. It's an inkjet printer. There's no heat involved. It was almost as if I was printing on the back of the sticker paper. Yeah, that's what I was doing. So this time I loaded up the paper the right way up, and this time it came out a lot better. Then I was able to just use these makeshift color swatches to get the design closer to what it looks like in real life. Although really the printer can't quite do as vibrant colors as the real product, so it's not going to be perfect. The next iteration was a lot better. A lot of the colors matched better, the contrast was a little bit better. And this time it was on sticker paper, so I could actually cut it out, peel the sticker off with extreme difficulty, and then finally stick it onto the bottle and see what it looked like. And I'll be honest, it looked pretty good. Because I'm going to be out here for longer than I should be, let me put on some Moonscreen that is just sunscreen in a bottle. And hope that I don't get a sunburn or moonburn. So the original plan was to keep this bottle around, but start out with a real bottle of sunscreen. So I'd be using the real bottle of sunscreen throughout the week, and then at some point I would swap it with the Moonscreen, somewhere partway through. Of course, the colors and printing quality still is a little bit off, so I ended up redesigning the sunscreen stickers as well, and replacing those. So now I had fake Moonscreen and fake sunscreen, and I was all ready to go. Keep in mind, I basically finished this right before we left for vacation, and there was a bit of a hiccup. I packed the Moonscreen hidden in a bag in my suitcase next to a robot that we're not going to talk about, but I forgot to grab the sunscreen. I put it in a bag and I just left it on the counter. I haven't been able to find it all week. Now I did bring extra stickers, so I could convert my Moonscreen to sunscreen and back again, but it would be really, really slow. This sticker paper is terrible and it tears to shreds whenever you look at it wrong. So instead, I kind of just mooched off of other people's sunscreen for a little bit, until partway through the week when me and my friends were going to go night swimming, and I just started gaslighting my friend. over and over again. Like, aren't you afraid of getting a moonburn? Why aren't you wearing Moonscreen? I mean, seriously, it's a real thing. Why aren't you wearing Moonscreen?
Come on, Jerry, show us the Moonscreen. Actually, show us the Moonscreen, Jerry. Where is it? Where's the Moonscreen, Jerry? Where's the Moonscreen, Jerry?
I feel like you already have something.
Somewhere in here. Don't watch me.
You're making a mess for a joke. Think about the cleanup. What? Hold on. What's in there, Jerry?
It's Moonscreen.
I don't think it is.
It's Moonscreen.
It's Moonscreen. What's the brand?
Like, wait. Walmart brand? You know I'm not getting name branded.
They don't make that shit. They don't make that.
Yes, they do. I'm holding it right here. Can't
Look
you
up
see?
a quaint Moonscreen on your phone.
No, oh yeah.
Moonscreen.
Moonscreen? What's the SPF on that?
0.
Sport.
Moonscreen. Oh my god. That's terrible.
It's incredible. Moonscreen. Did you do a finder place, or is this a meme label you can get printed?
Oh, no, that was the result of several hours.
Oh my gosh.
And next I showed it to my cousin Ezra. Basically asked, hey, do you need Moonscreen at any point? He's like, yeah, probably sometime later in the week. And I was like, okay, then here you go. And then he read the whole thing. Front and back, top to bottom, every single joke. Except for one. He did not scan the barcode. If he did, he would have learned that that barcode actually leads to great value brand vanilla icing, which ties into other jokes that are written on the back.
Sir, do you need to borrow my Moonscreen?
Probably.
Okay, here you go.
What? Why is this so legit?
What do you mean, why is it so legit? It's Moonscreen. I got it at Walmart.
What's with the directions?
What? All of the directions are in fact directions.
Wow. Other information. Yeah. It's the square root of rope is string.
It's other information.
That's legit.
Yeah, the plans for that changed significantly when I forgot to bring the actual sunscreen that's copying. Because I was gonna just leave it out and then swap
See
it
if
halfway through the week.
Yeah, just see if anyone notices.
From there, I showed it to my aunt briefly, and I think later that night, me and my friends, when we went night swimming, I brought it with us to see if anybody might snoop into our stuff and find it and be confused as hell. And to my knowledge, that did not happen. But on the way back, I ran into another cousin of mine and I asked her if she needed Moonscreen, and she brushed it off, thinking it was just a light joke. And the more I questioned her about it, the more she got suspicious, thinking I was going to prank her. She refused to look at this bottle. And to be fair, she was right. I was trying to prank her, and, well, she's probably right to refuse to look at it. And at that point, I just ended up leaving it on the kitchen table for anybody to find whenever they were looking around the table. And honestly, that was pretty fun as people continued to discover it. I also ended up showing it to a few other people outside of my immediate family, but I didn't film any other reactions. Honestly, this was kind of just for me to have some more fun on my vacation, but I'm glad that you came along to watch it. Trying to think if I have anything else to show you. I could show you all the boats that are making it hard to film, but otherwise, I think that wraps it up for this video. So I guess I'll see you next month with my next project. Who knows? It might be more counterfeit medical products, might be more creative stuff, might be more robotics. No idea. I'll see you then. One major benefit of filming in a kayak is that the moment you do a bad take and you think people heard it, you just paddle away.